and yours all the best as we look on to Week 12, which will have huge implications in the NFC East. All 4 teams face off: the Redskins, the Cowboys today, the Giants, and the Eagles play in Philly on Sunday. So, gentlemen, which player will have the biggest impact and who wins this division?
Jane just did an amazing job talking about Colt McCoy, and I'm going to echo what Jane was saying right there. Colt McCoy has the faith of not only that locker room, but the coaching staff and the front office in Washington. So at home you might be saying, Colt McCoy, there's a million starting quarterbacks in the league. Why are we talking about Colt McCoy? Colt McCoy has been there for 4 years in that system with Jay Gruden, which means for 4 years he's been running scout team, he's been prepping Kirk Cousins, he's been prepping Alex Smith, and he's been learning from Jay Gruden and from Sean McVay. Let me tell you something about Sean McVay. I spoke with Sean McVay after the Monday night game when they had this incredible victory over the Chiefs. And Sean McVay says to me, is Colt going to go on Thanksgiving? I go, I think he might. It looks like Alex. He goes, let me tell you something about Colt McCoy. And this comes from Sean McVay, who's working with Jared Goff and has worked with Kirk Cousins. He says, Colt McCoy is one of those guys that you want in your building. Colt McCoy is one of those guys who can lift teammates. And Colt McCoy is one of those guys who's not scared of the moment. So Sean McVay thinks so, and Jay Gruden thinks so, and all of the Redskins players talked about, this is a team that is up 1 game in the division.
Yeah.
They've got that front lead. They've already beaten the Cowboys once. Colt McCoy will be the decision maker in the NFC East this year, just like
it's amazing.
Nick freaking Foles was a division maker. But that's what happens.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to start. Colt McCoy, not only today, the division is on your arm. Go get it done.
You win.
All right.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to go with the guy across the field from him. I'm going to go with Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
All right, because, we spent some time this morning comparing different quarterbacks at Thanksgiving foods, and this guy's roast beef, this guy's mashed potatoes.
About it.
I was trying to think what Dak was. Dak's not a food. Dak is the plate. You got nothing if you don't have a plate. Dak is the thing that sets the table for everybody else. This is a magical, fascinating stretch coming up for Dak Prescott today, moving forward, because it's not only this season, it could be the next decade of Cowboys football or not. I will say this. Zeke's going to Zeke. He's massively important, and I love Zeke. I know that every other team knows how important he is and everything they're going to do to stop him. They're going to have to put up some points, these Cowboys, because it's not just today. They got to play the Saints. They got to play the Colts. They got to play the Bucs, who score a lot of points. So this idea that they're going to win games 20-10 and lean on their defense, Dak's got to make a play. And we all remember, one Dak Prescott stared down Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs and went blow for blow for blow. And I think that's part of the reason that Jerry Jones to this day says we have confidence in him. Yeah. We'll see what happens today. You can't lose to Colt McCoy in your home field on Thanksgiving. You can't go on and lose.
You know who they have next week?
They have the New Orleans Saints.
Incredible run right here.
You got to put up 35, 40 points to beat the Saints. I don't think they can do that unless Dak is chucking it. Dak's going to determine this thing.
Yeah, I have these guys winning this weekend, next week, so we'll see if they actually can do that.
Love it, Nate.
I'm looking at the quarterbacks. I believe in starters and I believe in backups, so I don't feel like there's going to be some enormous collapse by Colt McCoy. I feel like he's going to suffice, but I do feel like the Cowboys are going to make ground and start to play better. They're kind of catching their rhythm at the right time. You mentioned Zeke, and you're saying Zeke is going to Zeke, but when he does, this team is unique. This team is different. This team is more powerful. And I feel like with what they bring to the table, if Zeke gets going, they can put these guys on a run where they do catch the Redskins, and they do put themselves in their first position by the end of the season. Zeke is such a game changer that when you give him the ball in between the tackles, when you give him the ball outside the tackles, use him in a screen game, use him as a secondary wide receiver, and he ends up leading your team in receptions in some games. This is a dominant force. You mentioned comparing players to foods. We did that earlier in the show, and you said Dak is the plate. I feel like Zeke is the ham for multiple reasons. Like ham, when you put that candied ham on your plate during Thanksgiving, it's so different. It's different than anything. And when you get a big slice of it, it stands out. It smells and it tastes different.
It's good.
Everything around it's good. It makes everything around it taste better. That's it. When you have a big slice of Zeke, a big chunk of him in your game plan, you dominate. He's not one of those guys who can say, all right, we're going to give you a ball 8 times and pass to you a couple of times, and we hope that you just go big. No. You got to feed him.
Nate, he had 38 yards the last time they played the Reds. He wasn't eating anything.
I'm pretty sure he's aware of that. You know who else is aware of that?
They've also given up 100-yard rushers back-to-back since then.
Scott Linehan is aware of that. And that was a long time ago. And this is a different team. They have a different energy. They have a different vibe. And Zeke loves the stage. He loves the big show. And he loves everybody looking at him. And this is that moment. It's a moment for Dak to shine, and a moment for Zeke to shine, and it's a moment where Scott Linehan knows that he has to shine.
And the offensive line is healthy, too. The Cowboys could make waves, and they should win the division. They should take it, given the fact that there's a quarterback injury, the fact that they're sort of bringing it all together. I think it's the Giants that are going to define how this thing works out, and I don't mean it in a joking manner at all.
What you got?
This always happens. Somebody's a spoiler. They look good, by the way. Their offense looks like what we wanted their offense to look like before the season started. They're coming off back-to-back wins, and they still have to face the Redskins, and they still have to face the Cowboys. Last year, let me take you guys back to Bengals and Ravens. We know that Tyler Boyd touchdown that knocked Baltimore out of the playoffs. That could be this. This is reckless, nothing more feared than a team having no agenda other than to flip a table and piss everybody else off. They play the Cowboys when?
Week 17.
Week 17. I just have this weird feeling it's going to come down to an offense suddenly clicking. Odell, Saquon coming off 3-touchdown game in Week 11. This is the team that's going to define the NFC.
There's a crazy scenario.
It could be their Super Bowl.
There's a crazy scenario that I don't even play spoiler. If they win out, and I know it's wild.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I'm not saying
It's
that.
crazy. No,
Okay.
I'm not putting that on you.
Yeah.
I'm saying if the Giants win out, and you now have Colt McCoy as the quarterback of the, and you've got the Cowboys playing the Saints next week, and the Eagles can't do anything right, they're still alive in the playoff race. We have seen crazier things happen. So yes, will they play spoiler? That's awesome. If you want to go even further, there's a chance that Odell and Saquon starts clicking, and Eli's
And the defense and all of that money and all those playmakers.
It's fun to think about. If you're in Philadelphia right now, you're throwing up. You're saying Peter's laying out the case. The Giants are going to come all the way back. We got rings on our fingers, and we still have a pulse. Eagles have no say in this thing, because I've had my piece on it. They seem broken. They've had the get-right game that they've lost, and they've lost one after that. There's no juice, and now there's weird infighting. I'd love to make the case.
I hate to be so. What's
Negative.
the word? Malden. You said Marley and Me to the dog masks earlier this week. I feel like the dog ended in New Orleans this past weekend.
Elizabeth and collar running into screen doors.
Done.
We say our goodbyes. Peter. So many family dogs on Thanksgiving.
Would you actually say the Giants have a better chance of winning the
They're playing better
division
football.
than the Eagles? They are playing back-to-back wins, and their
I
offense
disagree with
looks
that. Let's not get
awesome.
too crazy.
Playing better
all right?
So the dog is just a little sick, you're saying?
Playing
Done.
They win a couple games. They're playing better football than the Eagles. Like, let's not be too dramatic. The Giants have a long way to go. I get it. Over a 16-week season, it's okay to go from worst to first. In the middle of the season, saying that they can change the complexion of this division. I'm not going to subscribe to that. I'm not going to subscribe to that.
Giants on Sunday.
Have you seen the Eagles play?
I have.
The last 2 weeks?
Did you see the Giants play in the beginning of the
They
season?
won 2 games
Look
in a row.
what the Chargers did last year and how they started. They won 6 of their last 7.
Okay, but this is Chargers. This is the Giants we're talking about. At the beginning of the season, these guys couldn't put together a drive. You're saying now they're going to put together a season?
You
They're
believe in the
talented
Eagles?
enough. They're
Because this is
talented enough.
interesting.
No one at this
I
table, you think the Eagles can do it? Because it's still theirs if they want it.
You guys, they won the Super Bowl.
Okay, so talk about it.
And they've dealt with turmoil before, like losing Carson Wentz to an ACL, having injury after injury.
Yeah, they're running out of time.
I get it, they're running out of time,
man.
But so is everybody else.
I think their only hope is to have us sit here and say that they don't have a chance, because they need to get some sort of chip on their shoulder that they're missing this year, and they don't have it. So if this is what it takes, us telling you that the Giants have a better chance, then do with that what you will.
For a group of men that knows what victory tastes like, being at the top of the mountain, winning a Super Bowl, having Super Bowl rings in their closet, running the table and going 10-6 isn't something far-fetched. These guys are sitting at home saying, oh, let's book the vacation. No, they're like, we've been through
Their
worse.
top 4 defensive backs from week 1 are no longer with them the rest of the season.
Traeger, everybody's dealing with injury. I don't care about that. Do you think players are walking in the locker room saying, oh, I guess we got to chalk it up. Guys are banged
I
up.
think Traquan Smith and Austin Carr and Keith Kirkwood scored another touchdown for the Saints just as we were sitting here.
That's fine.
Redskins got a backup quarterback.
That's what. In that division, though, that's what makes it so compelling in such a crazy, wide-open situation that either team, the Giants or the Eagles, could still make a difference. They're fighting for first place today. Colt McCoy up against Dak Prescott. That's wild.
There's a little Cujo out of these dogs because I haven't seen it yet this year.
It's the Cowboys' division to lose, if you ask me. I think the Giants are delusional. I think the Eagles are broken. I think the Redskins lost their quarterback. If not now, never. Dallas, let's go.
I would say I'd love to hear from Eagles fans, but I have a feeling I don't have to do that. I'm sure we'll be hearing from them on #GMFB during the breaks and after the